Hello everyone, welcome to Blogger and Everything. Welcome back to the channel. And I guess what do you say in the Spanish? Hola cules. Yeah, it's been a minute. We've been silent for a bit, just letting that L that was served up so masterfully by Cholo, just letting that simmer down, letting it percolate through the soul and coming out on the other side with a clearer picture of what's going on. Because at the end of the day, that's what so many people are asking. So many Kool-Aids are asking, what's going on? Yeah, it's a valid question to ask because we also how Barca started this season. So for them to have ended the first half of the season, before the winter break, in the way that they did, especially just those 7 matches after El Clasico, one win only from all of those, and all these L's at home, 3 in a row lost at home, and Barca now has 5 losses, 5, okay, in the column so far for the season. And honestly, if not for Atleti and Real Madrid just being prolific artists, drawing all over the place, Barca would be far behind both of them, which it could still happen, by the time Atleti play their game in hand. They could go as many as 6 points ahead of Barca, 6 points ahead of Barca, and similarly Real Madrid could move to 4 points clear of Barcelona. And at that point, you're probably going to have to start asking questions like, is there still hope for Barca in La Liga? And I know there's people who are already having that conversation, and some people have already kind of written it off, which I don't agree with, but I understand. Personally, I think what's going to happen for Barca is it's going to come down to February, January, February. If Barcelona have a good 2 months in that period, then they will very much bounce back and be in the title race. And just historically, looking at Barcelona, I cannot remember a year in which Barca had a strong January and a strong February and they didn't win trophies. So that's what's going to be indicator for Barcelona this time around. Okay, if they come back and they hit those levels that they did just at the start of the season, if they can keep Lamine Yamal fit, all of that, maybe integrate some wingers from Barca Athletic like Daniel Rodriguez. Honestly speaking, if he can get into the first team dynamic, that could be very good for Barca because rest, some very valuable rest for the likes of Rafinha and Lamine Yamal, because Daniel Rodriguez can play either side on that front three. So that's what it's looking like for Barcelona at the moment. And like I said, if they can have a strong February, a strong January, then I think they are still in with a shot at winning La Liga, especially because I think Real Madrid in particular, the January, in a way, they're both in the Super Copa and whatnot. So yeah, it's going to be a tough January for both these teams, probably with Madrid needing to win those Champions League matches more so than Barca. You could see them having to go full throttle for more games than Barcelona. So that could play into it. And the same as well for Atleti. So, overall, when I'm looking at Barcelona, how would I rate their season so far? If you had offered Barcelona fans the season that Barca had just after 15 matches, everybody is taking it, right? Maybe even up until that Atleti game, everybody is taking that season that Barcelona had at that point. They won quite a few games. They're, cooking in the Champions League only behind Liverpool. And, Liverpool have basically won every game they've played, with the exception of that one loss to Nottingham Forest and some draws here and there, right? But, that's the team that is only 3 points ahead of Barca in the Champions League. So, a lot of people would have taken what Barcelona have done so far in theory. It's just probably the way that things have gone. You'd have probably opted for a weaker start ending with a stronger finish rather than a strong start with a weaker finish as far as the first half of La Liga is concerned. So, that's probably the only caveat. But otherwise, if I sat here and I had to judge the work that's been done by Hansi Flick, considering how injuries have done their thing and considering how he's had to rely on kids for huge swathes of the season so far, I would honestly give him something like an 8 out of 10 so far, which I know a lot of people are going to think that's very generous. But I think the end, that second half of the first half of this, La Liga season has illustrated just, the reality, okay, of the situation that Hansi Flick has on his hands. There have been a lot of players overperforming, if I could be honest. And then that's towards the start of the season. And then towards, this, winter break. The past 5-6 La Liga, matches, there's been a lot of players also just underperforming their levels. So it's been really a huge mix for Hansi Flick. And it's been difficult for him to get 100% constantly from all of his players because of things like injuries, because of things like, we could say naivety, these are young players. So there's all of that. But ultimately, I think that he can look back on what he's done so far and be proud. Barcelona should be happy with the job he has done so far, because the shortcomings we've seen have more to do with poor squad building that's been going on at Barca now for at least close to a decade, right? The squad hasn't been built right. It started under Enrique, continued under Valverde, and Koeman, Seti, and whatever. Everybody else who followed. The squad building just still was not right. So this now we're seeing is a time when Barca are supposed to set that right, and we'll see if they'll be able to. Of course, they don't have the resources to. And with all of that taken into consideration, looking at the work Hansi Flick has done, for me, 8 out of 10. It's not even a debate. If you want to argue, you can argue. I understand why. If you want to isolate it maybe and just say La Liga by itself and the Champions League by itself, and in that case, you're going up to maybe as high as a 9 out of 10 in the Champions League, and as low as maybe a 6 out of 10 in La Liga. Yeah, just because, losing to Leganés and Las Palmas at home, that's probably unforgivable, regardless of the circumstances at hand. Losing to Atleti, not so much of a big deal for me, but losing to Las Palmas and Leganés, yeah, those are two games which he should not have been losing. Anyway, this is just supposed to be like a quick chat, guys, to see where we're at, mentally. We're obviously going to be looking at some, year-end review type of content coming up, hopefully by New Year's Day. If not, then just, the day right after New Year's Day. We should have that, my review of 2024, highs, lows, best this, best that, all of that stuff. But this was just, to kind of smooth things over, to get us back, thinking straight. Even though personally I was already thinking straight after the loss to Atleti, but I had to give y'all time as well just to come around and accept what's going on and look at things with less anger. Yeah, that's basically that. But aside from that, I thank you all for tuning in. I hope you are having a wonderful festive season. A belated Merry Christmas to you. And in case you don't get the New Year's upload on New Year's, or in time, or maybe just something goes wrong and you don't get it, you can save in advance now. Happy 2025 to you, and thank you for all your support during 2024. I don't think we'll be able to hit the 10K mark before the end of 2024, but regardless, I thank you all for your support. Do have a great day, and Forza Barca.